assuming you're on these deals for Bill Maven, I certainly plan to do those public hearings separately.
Yes,
And then,
I'm set
and
up.
then there's only one that we have to take action on at the bottom, or
I
third
think you
one.
have to do
Oh,
it on
no.
all of them.
all of
Yeah,
them.
it's
Okay.
discuss and consider on.
We just have
On
to
all of 'em.
open it up for public comment
But
before
we're
you
doing
close it,
one at
and
a
then
time.
yes,
That's the way, I'd prefer to do one at a time.
okay,
All right, you ready?
yes, sir.
All right. The meeting will come to order. For public information, a copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is posted in the back of the meeting room on the east wall, if anyone needs to take a look at that. We'll have roll call.
Harris,
Here,
Reisig,
Here.
Meyer,
Here.
Blue,
Here.
Parsley,
Here.
okay, if we'd all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, a couple of announcements this evening. First of all, we want to welcome everyone that's here. We want to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded. It will be broadcast at a later date. And so because of that, we want everyone to remember that if you want to speak this evening, once you're recognized, if you would come forward to the microphone. We want you to state your name for the record and also spell your name, which assists the county clerk in getting her minutes correct. Remember that there's no swearing or other inappropriate language. We all need to check our cell phones, try and be sure that we have them shut off or on silent so they don't disrupt. We also want to remind the commissioners to also speak clearly and directly into your microphone. Again, we want that everyone to be heard, and it seems like sometimes here it's not important, but it is important when it's played back on the recorded version. So be sure that we all speak directly into the microphones. Thanks. We also do not plan to take a break this evening. This agenda is relatively short compared to most of them, and I doubt whether we'll be taking a break. Also want to welcome Mr. Jerry Osdick tonight. He's filling in for Jason Ocean, who's on a trip, so to speak. So anyway, we welcome Jerry, and he's filling in for him as our attorney for representing us on civil affairs. I also want to mention tonight that it is Miss Kelly's birthday. And
Happy
yeah,
birthday.
she didn't want me to say anything, but I did. And
You kept it as long as you could.
yeah, so anyway,
Please
happy
do so.
birthday to you.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Did
so
get a cake for you at the office or
I got
anything?
cupcakes, yes.
Did
good.
you? That was nice.
So the next item is approval of the agenda and consider any modifications.
Move for approval.
I'll second
I-
that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, but Kelly, you go ahead.
In the Board of Equalization, we can remove the Cirrus House motor vehicle exemption, if that's okay.
The one for Sarah's house. Okay? So we'll just skip right over that when we get to it. I think we can still go with that same motion,
Could it-
probably.
Who was my second? Thank you.
Kelly? I got a refund check tonight you had given me for mileage. Do I need to abstain from that?
Did you go to Kearney?
Did I what?
Did you go to
I
Kearney?
did.
Did you stay in a hotel that you got reimbursed for?
I did, but
Okay.
I just wanna be sure of that.
You
know.
don't need,
You don't need to abstain.
I don't know how it works, I'm just asking.
No, you're just getting paid.
You think he should?
You should abstain.
That's what I
from
was,
from a
Yes.
reimbursement for travel?
Get-
reimbursement, same as a pay.
Yeah.
Huh.
You don't-
Anytime you take funds, I would think you'd wanna abstain
Then
from
we
it.
all need to abstain on all of it, cause we get paid every month. Same thing.
We should abstain from our paycheck, I guess, if you're saying it that way, I don't know.
I don't-
That's why I'm
Reimbursement,
asking.
I would remove that from the consent and
I don't know.
then take that one separately, and you can abstain from that one. That's how you should do it.
Anybody else that got one,
And
did
so-
anybody else get a,
We're not up to the, to that item yet,
okay.
as far as the consent agenda, but that's where it'll be, we'll deal with it. So, the motion at this point is for the agenda, and that we would, approve the agenda, and then we'll simply skip over the item once we get to it, since there's nothing gonna be presented.
That's why I asked, because I didn't know if it had to be changed on the agenda part of it.
Yeah, oh, I see, yeah, I don't think so, I think it only has to be dealt with when we get to the consent
Okay,
agenda.
I didn't know.
That's all right. So, all right, so we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried. Then we'll mention the board reserves the right to enter into a closed session if deemed necessary. We do not have any scheduled executive sessions scheduled for this evening, but this, always reminds us that if, we need to, for some unexpected reason, that we reserve the right to do that. The next item is the consent agenda, which is items approved for one action, unless someone wants to consider one separately. It appears that, we're gonna need to pull one of them out separate.
I've still got a question about that, I'm sorry. If you did some work for the county, okay, and got paid for the work that you did, then you can abstain from
Yeah,
voting.
and
because-
I've been doing that.
or you sold something to the county, or whatever the case.
I've been doing that.
But this isn't, I mean, you've got reimbursed for doing your job.
Right.
Part of your job is to attend and get
It
mileage
doesn't,
for.
it doesn't, I don't get any, I'm not gaining any.
No,
I have
no.
I have
It's-
no.
It's no personal
I have no
gain.
gain from that.
There's no personal gain
It's a
from it.
break
It's,
even.
yeah.
It's a wash, I guess.
Right. Well,
I agree with you.
So I can tell you the college practice is to abstain and have that removed from the consent, and then everybody else votes on that.
Then what should we do on our salaries every month? Cause that's included with that.
That's a gain.
And we'll figure that out for next meeting.
right. And
I'm not an
maybe-
attorney, I'm just putting it
Maybe-
out there.
I guess,
Here's a question.
one thing we should say to you is that, we have not pulled them out, in previous meetings. I have no problem in doing that tonight, and then maybe between you and Jason, you can give us, the opinion as to, what you think needs to be done in the future. Because it's easy to do either way, is just so we kinda know, where we stand, and so, and I know that, in this case, it's an expenditure that should, generally, be kind of what I'll call virtually a no-brainer, because we've kinda knew in advance they were going. But, for this particular case, I have no problem in doing it. I always feel that, if the person is asking it to be separate, I think it's helpful to pull it out and do it separately. But we have not been doing it that way, so, but we certainly can tonight, if that's all right with everyone. And, we can go from there. So, we're gonna, if there's nothing else on the consent agenda that's a problem, we could move to approve the consent agenda as presented, but pulling out the one claim for Mr. Riser.
Do you need the claim number, or do you have that, Kelly?
No.
You don't need the claim number?
Now, I think she'll know what it is.
Okay. I have it here.
So,
So I'm clear, the motion will be for the consent agenda minus that one?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
So
Yes.
move.
All right, so we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Have a second to that effect? Any other discussion on that? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses.
All right, motion's carried. Now we'll need to vote separately on that one item, the claim, for Mr. Raisik, and, then I would say that the motion would be to, for that claim to be approved, and Mr. Raisik would be abstaining from voting.
Right.
So is there, so I'll move that. Is
To
there a
approve
second?
To approve the claim.
To approve the claim and abstain, Mr.
I second that.
Okay. So that's what we have is a motion to approve that claim to Mr. Raisik and, abstain, or move to abstain, that he can abstain from voting. All right. So are you ready to do it this way? Good. So, any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 4 yeses and Raisig abstaining.
All right, so the motion is carried. All right, the next item is going to the building and zoning items. Bill Maben is going to be discussing several items here this evening. The first item is a public hearing to discuss and consider approval of a request by MH Farming Incorporated for an ag estate dwelling site located in section 28, township 21 north, range 54 west. And so I think we'll go ahead and open the public hearing this evening. But, Bill, why don't you, go ahead and give whatever information you want to first?
So here's the location, this is Highway 70, or Highway 92 here, it's by the, where you turn to go to the racetrack, just before you turn to go to the racetrack, so it's about 2 miles south and just about a quarter mile back to the west there. And they are wishing to separate off 4.03 acres, it's a pivot corner right now. It'd be for the purpose of a future home site. They would be reserving the rest of this, so the pivot corner would be the ag estate, the rest of this would be the 76 acres of reserve area. It does meet the requirements of section 5.10113 for zoning, the zoning regulations for ag estate dwelling site, and the planning commission did recommend approval by a 6-0 vote.
Okay. All right. Appreciate your
Here's the plat, and Russ, you had a question, there is a driveway right here.
I just wanted to be sure we had access.
Yep, already has access getting in right there, and there's the plat.
Is that a dry corner, doesn't have any irrigation?
Yeah, it's
ditches or
kinda
anything?
actually on a hill.
So it's kinda elevated to where it doesn't really
Yeah.
have any water flow or anything.
I don't hardly see anybody do gravity irrigation on the pivot corners anymore.
Well, I just wondered if there was any, like a lateral, ditch company lateral, or anything crossing through.
No, it just pretty much butts up to the neighbor's cornfield over there.
And the applicant? Who is it that's applying for this? MH
MH Farming.
Yeah, I think
And they're
there's
here?
somebody here to represent.
So, I think it'd be appropriate at this point to, let anyone speak on this item, and if you're here in favor of this item, if you're, wanna come up and speak, you're more than welcome to.
Do we need to open a public hearing for
We
it?
did.
Oh, you opened it?
I
didn't
did
remember
right
doing
before he started, so, come on up.
I'm Brian Heimbach, Heimbouch, and I own the corner that we're selling to Cody and Aubrey McClellan. They came to me looking for some corners, and This is the one they picked. I don't think there's been anybody that opposes it. It doesn't block anybody's view. Kinda sits by itself, and it's a corner we don't irrigate. So, it works for me.
Good for you and good for them.
Good for both of us.
There you go.
Okay.
Hello, Cody McClellan, MC capital L E L L A N, and Aubrey McClellan, Aubrey. We're the proposed purchasers,
How do you spell your first name?
CODY.
Thank you.
Yeah, just would like to get out of town, build a house, and brought some emotional leverage for the kids here.
See
Just
that, yeah,
get out
that
of
works,
town and
yeah.
give them a chance to kind of raise heck out there and not get in any trouble, and just, yeah,
Sure.
so we appreciate your support.
Oh, I'm gonna vote for it just because, just for him. Yeah, that's,
Yeah, all right, thanks. All right, is there anyone else here this evening that would like to speak in favor? Anyone that would like to speak against? Then we're gonna officially close the public hearing portion of this. And then, Bill, do you have anything else to say on this one?
It's just pretty run-of-the-mill, Agus Day here,
Okay.
2
It
acres
meets
the
all,
minimum, so.
meets all the requirements.
Sure does, yeah.
And, I was thinking, I don't know if it was this one or a different one that it had talked about, Steve Baird had, was okay with.
And
any
access.
entrance- Yeah,
Yeah, it'll be
So-
on the next one.
okay,
We don't even
But
need,
you
we
don't
don't, we
see a
don't need to
problem
do an
there.
access permit, cause it's already there
already
for
there.
this one,
Looks
yeah.
like, yeah.
Like I said, this is pretty much cookie cutter stuff right here, yeah.
okay. Any other questions from commissioners? Or anyone else? All right, hearing none, so the, what we'd be doing here is approving the plat.
It's in
No.
Agus State.
It's an ag estate dwelling site, that's what we need to
Right.
approve.
Well, I move that we
gotta
approve
close
the,
the public hearing first.
We did.
Okay.
I
You
did,
did.
Okay, I didn't hear that.
I'll continue my motion to approve the request for MH Farming for an ag estate dwelling site located at section 28, township 21 north, range 54 west.
is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any other discussion? I'll only again mention that the planning commission has given approval to this, so. Alright. Alright, well, hearing no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote.
It's not up there, Kelly.
You have 5 yeses? That's
All right.
because he's using it.
Motion's carried. Alright, we'll move on to the next item, which again is a public hearing. I'm going to officially open the public hearing at this point, but Bill, we're gonna let you address your things first.
Okay. So it's a request by Mason Aslan for a preliminary plat, Aslan County, Canyon subdivision, section 16, township 21, range 55. And if you're familiar with the old Cedar Canyon School out there on the Carter Canyon Road, and so at the moment, it's just one tract. It's 9.9 acres. So mainly for reasons where he's just getting killed on his insurance because they're calling this a commercial building, the old school, and he lives in the house over here, this modular. They're just really drilling him on his insurance, so for him to separate it into 2 tracks, it was gonna save him a lot. And then for this tree rows here, basically, cordons off this whole area from the rest of it, so he figured he might as well go ahead and just make that a 3rd tract. But at the time, he's not planning on selling the school or anything, he just needed it separated. So it does meet the requirements of the subdivision regulations and the rural residential zoning district qualifications. The Steve Baird we talked about, There's already an access here for that track, there's already an access here for track 2. Steve said there was no reason why he wouldn't have plenty of room here for sight distance and all that to get another one, so that wasn't gonna be a problem to get another access. The planning commission did recommend approval on this by a 6-0 vote also.
You pointed to it, but the actual dwelling, I think, is that in the lower right?
That is right here.
Oh, okay.
Yep, it was a little modular, I think they were using it as a library or something when it was still the school, but he moved into there, and I think he just uses that for, he works on cars and some motorcycles and whatever.
Okay,
How much, clearance have you got from the property line to the east side of the school?
Over here,
Right, yep,
yeah, there's a just tick over 20, just what he needs,
is that right?
gotta have 20 feet, yep.
so he meets all the requirements that's.
Yeah, it meets the setbacks, it's the acreage requirement, the minimum is 3 acres, so you see you went 3.3 and then 3.99. So that meets the requirements for the state of Nebraska also as far as the septic and well setbacks. Once it's over 3, the state doesn't have to approve anything.
Where's the septic and well for the school now? Is it to the north of the
It is
school?
down here
For the school?
for both of them, yep.
So do you have an easement for that?
We don't want one actually, because when eventually there would be 2 owners, and when the septic system goes bad, you want them to have their own. You don't want them tied together. You want them at that point to
Have their own.
track A goes and does his septic, and track 3 goes and does his septic.
But are they noted to where if we sell, are they in some kind of, are they recorded in the deed that they're on those properties so that if, he does sell that, let's say he sells that modular and keeps the school, are they recorded to where the new owner knows he's responsible for all that?
Well, at this point, he's not planning on selling it, but I know what you're saying.
I realize that, but I
yeah.
mean, that's why we're here. We're,
Right. Well,
it's our job to look into the future.
well, he said if you put an easement on there, then you're kinda in,
I don't know that you need an easement.
'Kay.
What, it should be recorded somewhere in the deed if it ever transfers that they know they're there. They should be noted, isn't Dennis here?
I mean,
Lee?
well, this is Scott's.
Scott did this one?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you were gonna do that, I don't know how you would even describe it. You could definitely put a note
It would be a
somewhere
note
in there
in the
and
deed.
record it. I have it all at my office because I actually have the septic system.
Nobody goes to your office when they buy real estate.
They just,
They go to
when they need a copy of the layout.
They pull a register of deeds and any of those notes are in that file.
The owner needs to put that onto when they sell it.
Yeah, if it gets there. But what if it doesn't get there, they buy it like that? Then they're gonna be back in here. Or there, they'll start there and then they'll be here.
The owner has to disclose it. It's right on the purchase agreement. You've gotta disclose what the septic system is, whether it's
Yeah, but
good, whether it's not, or
He don't
whatever.
have to disclose where the neighbor's is and it's on his property. He only has to disclose what's on, what he has.
But if he's selling it, he has to disclose it. Right now, he owns all of it.
You know, I would doubt that would happen, is what I'm.
It does happen.
Well, it can.
No,
If they
it
remember that
it
it's all
does.
there,
It's-
if they know
it's,
it's all there.
Yeah, whatever.
So, how much actual land do they have when you take the school off of that school property?
Short of 7.
Well, the
I mean,
schools,
take the square foot of the building out, there's a lot of square foot of building there. And that building's probably a fifth of the total lot size.
There's 3 acres on the track, and that's including the school.
I realize, but you take the school building, cause you can't take. the
Still have
building-
3
You gotta
acres.
deduct the building out of there to make your sewer system apply. How many acres did you tell me on the sewer? 2 acres?
well, the thing is, if, once you're over 3 acres, the state, you don't have to get approval from the state of Nebraska. So they're saying the lot's gonna be big enough that you don't have to worry about it. What they would end up doing is right here would be where they would go,
It's big enough if you.
cause
don't
the
deduct-
well's gonna be back over
If you don't
here.
deduct the building. If you deduct the building out of the acres, your acres go down.
Well, they don't have a net on it. They just say if the lot's 3 acres or more, then you don't have to get approval. They don't have anything like that. They don't take into
You can't
account
put the septic
building.
system, yeah, you can't put the septic system under the building.
No, I'm assuming you'd put it over here, would be where they'd go with it. I don't know the size of it, it's probably never ever gonna go bad because it was made for a school when it was still operational.
But he's selling that septic system, or he's splitting the septic system off of it, if he ever.
It'd be on track 2,
Right,
correct,
it's on
right.
track too, so that's irrelevant, it needs to, the way we've done it in the past, or not we, but I know we've talked to people that when they sold a property, they had to move the septic system off of this property and put it on the other property, they weren't allowed to leave it on that property.
If there was some type of agreement between the two, the buyer and the seller, then it needs to be done. As long as you disclose it.
We have several of them where
Yeah.
the septic's on, for instance, at the lake. There's like, the lots are so small out there, they put 3 houses down in one lot because they didn't have anywhere else to go with
But
it.
that's your agreement, that's what you.
There's an agreement,
That's your
that's
agreement.
right. I'm assuming the agreement takes place at the time of sale, so if somebody goes to buy that lot, then they're gonna have to address the situation then. And you have 2 options, you're right. They could say, we'd just rather go ahead and just put our own in. So then that's what they'd end up doing, is going down there on the southwest
But
side.
But it's
noted,
still,
it
it's
should
still
be
up to the buyer and the seller. The seller has to disclose where the septic system in, the buyer has to either accept it or put his own in, one of the two.
Well, if you're comfortable with it, I guess, you
I'm-
sell a
I'm-
lot more real estate than
Another,
I do. I just
another
wanna be sure-
example is some of these subdivisions, they all share well. So,
all I'm saying is I just like to be sure that we're protecting the buyer in the future, that when we make these decisions, that if there was no septic system on this other property, we wouldn't be having this.
we could make a recommendation
know
that they
I would
put
not
a
be having
note
this
on the
discussion.
plat. We could
As
definitely do
soon as they
that.
sign the purchase agreement, they know what they're signing.
No, I'm just
So
saying,
they
if you're
can't come
fine
back
with it,
on us,
if you're
yeah.
fine with it, I'm okay.
I'm all right
Let me,
with it.
let me ask this, how about you, Jerry? Are you seeing any concerns about it?
No,
I mean-
you're right. When somebody goes to buy it, they would typically look and they would find out then that there's no septic system at that point, and they would either get an easement to the other or have to build their own.
Right.
And dealt with at sale time?
I've seen,
Or you have an agreement to share it, until
Right.
which point it fails, and then each party just does their own separately.
I still think there should be a note in each deed to those 2 parcels where the septic systems are, just a note. It doesn't have to give ownership or anything, that this parcel has the septic
Sure.
system.
Hey, we
for
can
that
always
school.
attach a
This
page
school
to
has
it.
no septic system,
that's
and
not
put
a
it on the
problem.
property. It's just, I'm just saying, it just seems that would be normal.
To the plat, you're saying?
Yeah, you just attach like a 3rd page to the plat, and just mention it.
Be nice to have something included, just for the future buyer, if it would go through a bankruptcy or a foreclosure, and if
Sure.
people wind up with this thing and they go, hell, I bought it on a foreclosure sale, nobody told me nothing, I didn't know that.
Usually,
nice,
I'm the
good
first person they call. 'Cause everybody
Yeah,
wants to
but
know where
they've
that
already
septic
owned,
system
they already
is
own
at.
it by then, they already own it by then, but if
Sometimes.
it's in a note of some sort, and
Right.
it goes through foreclosure, at least somebody knows it's there.
Okay,
I'm good with it either way, but I just wanna be sure we're protecting the people that are gonna deal with it in the future.
all right. So, that's your presentation for now.
Yes.
We need to open this up to, of course, the public hearing's already open. Is there anyone here this evening that is here to speak in favor of this item? If you are, come forward.
Mitch Wagers, MITCHWAGERS. I'm in favor of this if it meets all of the already established guidelines. I mean, this is being nitpicked more than the previous one, so I'm not quite sure why, but there's no reason to nitpick it. If it meets the requirements, it meets the requirements.
Okay, anyone else in favor of this item? Anyone here to speak, not in favor of this item? Let the record show there were none. We're going to officially close the public hearing at this point.
I would move for approval.
Are you wanting to add a sheet, a note to the
I can just do
preliminary
it. We can just do it.
You can just do
Yeah,
it? Okay.
yeah. We'll just
So
do,
he'll
we'll just
do
go
it.
that way. We'll just put a 3rd page on. We'll just
Thank
describe.
you,
I'll
thank
second.
you.
Yeah,
I
I'll
appreciate
second
that.
his
I
motion.
appreciate
A
it.
drawing of it. Well, we can actually put the drawing on it if we want to. and then
Okay.
that's what
I don't know that he needed,
All right.
just a note so
Sure.
somebody knows it
Yeah.
in the future.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the preliminary plat. Mr. Maben is telling us that he's just gonna automatically include a sheet that would put people on notice about the septic system.
Thank you for
That's
doing
Alright,
that.
easy
so
enough.
that kinda solves all the issues, it sounds to me like.
Yep.
So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion up here? Alright, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. So this is a motion to approve the preliminary plat.
You have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried. Appreciate that. Alright, so we'll go to the next item, which is, a 4:30 public hearing to discuss and consider approval of a request by Travis and Lynette Vanan for conditional use permit, veterinary clinic located in section 31, township 23 north, range 54 west. So we will officially open the public hearing at this point, but Bill will let you give us your information first.
So this is located, north on Sugar Factory Road, just a little bit over 2 miles from 42nd Street, up on the east side of the road. It used to be Dr. Morgan's place, if anybody's familiar with that. And, so what they're wanting to do is, it was an old, I think it was an old barn or something, and it got damaged from some wind, so he just went in and redid the top and would like to have a veterinary clinic in there. And, so, we have that as part of our ag zoning, maybe permitted in ag zoning for a vet clinic. And, related facilities. So we basically threw together a list here of the permitted conditions of approval. And, what we came up with was 1 and 2 are standard conditions. We had put them on everything. Owner operator shall conform to all applicable federal, state, and county regulations or local. And 2, when in compliance with condition 1, such conditional use shall be transferred to all owners of above mentioned property and their successors, so long as they're using it for that use only. So the only thing that they could use this for is if the next guy come along and bought it for use as a veterinary clinic. If he wants to use it for something different, then we'd have to expire the permit, come back in, make application again.
So you're not changing anything to commercial or highway commercial or nothing?
Basically, what we do in our stuff is you do a conditional use instead of changing the zoning, cause, it's so spread out. In town, you do commercial districts, cause everything's the same, you know, you're out in the county, now you're hit and miss. So we don't do commercial
You don't
zoning
do highway
districts.
commercial out there on that?
You know, that's all gone. They got rid of all that, yeah,
Did they?
yeah. In fact, they pretty much discourage strip zoning now.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't, they
Bill,
kinda did away with that.
The question I have is on number 4,
Sure.
when it talks about the permit should not allow, animal boarding or kenneling. In a veterinary clinic, and correct me if I'm wrong, there may be some time that you have an animal there for an extended period of time.
And that's why we
for
put
whatever
these,
reason.
we put that in there about the temporary
Good
boarding.
temporary
for-
boarding.
Yeah,
does it.
and he agreed with it, that was, you know, that's just for in the recovery. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
What we're saying, it's not gonna be a kennel where you drop your dog off and leave for a
Right,
week
right.
or whatever, cause.
Just so we don't get somebody reading into it more than what it needs to be read into. Maybe that's
Sure.
what I'm doing here, but, yeah, I just wanna make sure that he's covered for those animals that,
Yeah, I
that
think
are
you
gonna have some
agreed, right?
extended
The
stays.
statement was pretty well gonna cover it, so. Probably, it sounded like the longest you may have a recovery on is gonna be a couple weeks or
Yeah.
whatever, so, but
Whatever
we're
it is.
more talking about kenneling your dogs and like if you're going out of town or whatever, so, and his facility's not set for that anyway. The septic system's not designed for a kennel like that, to have several pens and all that, so.
I'm good with it, I just want
And this was all
clarification. on it.
posted, correct? Everybody in the area knows it's,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
And so the conditional use permit's granted for veterinary clinic and related facilities, so he does have some other little out accessory buildings there. And, business activity shall be performed entirely inside the envelope as shown in 2, which is that. There's about 1.4 acres in there. follows fence line over here down along the south edge of the buildings. There's another fence that goes up here and the road. So I can get that over to the mapping department and then get that plotted, pretty
You got
accurately.
a
up there.
welding shop out there, not far from where this is at.
Just
So you're okay.
So he's got a little corral here, so we can load them in. It's cold storage type deal here in this little building down there. Some guy
Is there a
might
home
wanna.
on that? Is there somebody living there?
No,
No home on
It's
it?
just a little shed. The home's up here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the house is up there. So this used to be the barn.
Okay, so you got 1.4 acres. Are we subdividing this off this
Nope.
red area?
Nope, we're just using this as the envelope. This is
Okay.
where all the activity
So
happens,
there's
just like
plenty
we
of-
did with the lake store.
There's plenty of land for septic system.
Oh, there's like 80 acres or something, right? The septic system's already in. It's actually
You know,
down
with that
there.
1.4 acres, it just seems, tight. It
Well,
doesn't explain to me now.
It's
I mean,
1.4 for the conditional use permit.
yes.
So you
That's where
gotta
all the
stay within
No
those
other
bounds.
That's where all the
Planning.
activity's going on, yeah. And he already has the septic in. It's much less than you would ever
Oh,
need
yeah.
for a house.
Oh, yeah, no, I realize. I just looking at that to see if, you know, I was thinking that was a boundary or a property line. That red line is not a property line.
Nope.
It's a conditional use
But we can
line.
plot it on the map though to show this is the
I
the
understand what
area.
you're-
Yep.
I understand what you're doing.
Yep.
You know, like I said, I'm on the tail end of this thing, but I need to know where we're at. I understand. I got you.
So the planning commission did recommend approval by a 6-0 vote on this, and there was nobody there. Nobody came to the meeting except for the two surveyors. So, and I did, the notice was posted out there for like 3 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, okay, that's
And
good.
everything we done. So I think most everybody sounded like they were actually in favor of having another vet clinic around, so.
I would think
Okay.
so.
This is a public hearing, and we want to be sure and let, I know we have the Vanans here, and so we'll ask for anyone that wants to speak in favor of this, so come on up if you'd like and tell us about it.
Travis Van An, Travis Vananne. So I'm a mobile vet clinic. Pretty common to go 8-10 places a day. But in order to bring in a student to our area, which is almost impossible, I have to have a facility. They don't want to do what I do, traveling as much as I do. So the goal of this is to try to hire a veterinarian to replace me. Large animal veterinarians are a thing of the past. So the goal of this is to bring in somebody over the next 5 years to take over what I'm doing.
And then this, you would be able to do surgeries here, is what I understand.
Yeah, a tornado took off the top of the barn, so we put a new roof on it. Now there's a facility in there to do spays and neuters. The bottom has an area for C-sections on cows and 2 stalls for horses. And there may be, clear at the bottom of the screen, a corrective farrier coming in to help me, a horse trimmer.
But a facility to let people bring stuff to you where otherwise you normally go to their house.
Correct.
I
This
see.
may not get used much until I can get somebody.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyone else to speak in favor?
Mitch Wagers, MITCHWAGERS. I'm in favor of it. Good folks, and I think Travis does great work. So, it is an art that is being lost, and I think we need to keep that around. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else here to speak in favor?
Hi, LISABETZ hyphen MARQUEZ. Travis helped me with my horse. He's a wonderful vet, and I didn't know their plans, but I'm real excited that you'll be looking for someone to take your place. It is a very needed thing. All the horse people around, you know, sometimes it's hard to load a sick horse, and he comes out and he does an amazing job. So I just want to say, yay.
He got my granddog to walk on all 4 legs.
Thanks,
That he
Travis.
wasn't walking on for 2 or 3 years, so I'm appreciative of what you do.
Anyone else here to speak in favor? Would ask if anyone's here to speak against. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the, public hearing.
I would
And,
move for approval, please.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve the conditional use permit for this veterinary clinic. Is there
I'd
any
say
other?
to include the, conditions of approval that we discussed too.
Okay, on the second page.
Yes.
These 4 items,
Yep, the list
Okay.
of conditions plus the map.
so you include that in your
Yes.
motion? Yeah.
Just the way we have it here, right?
Okay,
Permit, yeah.
Right,
All
as
right.
per the permit.
any other discussion from commissioners? All right, we had a second, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, hearing no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried. Appreciate you being here.
Good luck to you.
Yep. Okay, so I believe that takes care of those 3 items, but we do have a item to discuss and consider the chairman's signature on the final plat for the Aslan Canyon subdivision, which is the one that we just talked about at Cedar Canyon
Yeah, so
School.
you guys approve the preliminary plat, I just need the chairman's signature on the final plat to be recorded.
I'd move for approval.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
You have 5
Bill.
yeses.
Thank you, Bill.
Motion's carried. All right, appreciate it, Bill. Okay, so I think that takes care of the building and zoning items. The next items are Board of Equalization. We'll need a motion to go into the Board of Equalization.
So
Aye.
move.
Have a motion to go, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second to go into Board of Equalization. Any discussions? Hearing none, we'll vote.
Oh dear. Sorry.
Okay.
You have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried. First item is discuss and consider approval of 22 vehicle exemptions for Panhandle Development Disability Services, Scotts Bluff. Heather?
Right, so, this is their list of, their annual list of vehicle exemptions. All of these vehicles have previously been exempt. One of the reasons the list, the tax dollar amount is so high is because there are 4 buses that have a tax value of almost $1,100. But they have all previously been exempt. It is a charitable organization, so I do recommend approval.
Any new vehicles?
No.
Do you have the dollar amount there?
$7,329.40. Sorry.
And this is the one that their office is over like on 19th Avenue or something in Scotts Bluff, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
They just
Right
have their
next to
PO
City
box, but
Yeah.
Right north of City Hall.
That little building.
Well, it's pretty good size, actually.
Okay. And I'm thinking about the one over by Coke.
Oh, that's the,
The one by the old, right behind
the
Kmart.
one over by Coke is their rehab center where the,
It's part of this,
and
Yeah.
but their main office
it
is
is
over by the city.
they are the Region 1 Office of Human Development
Okay.
vehicles. So they're just all listed under Panhandle Developmental Disability Services now.
I see a lot of vehicles going in and out of that location on,
Yeah, and they
19th.
did not give me a location, they just gave me a PO box, so.
well, this address is the main office. Not the main office, Region One's the main office. This is the one that's Panhandle Disabilities.
Yeah.
Okay.
I sat on that
Part
board,
of-
which over
part of
that
that.
hill.
Okay,
Any other questions on this?
any other questions, Jeff? Entertain a motion?
I move to approve.
I'll second it.
Go ahead and vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Okay, motion's carried. So the next item, we heard, we're not gonna discuss tonight, has been pulled.
The Sears house?
right? That's the one that's been pulled from the agenda.
Oh.
All right, so the next one is to receive the tax list corrections. We have a copy of those here tonight. That was submitted to us. Any, questions or concerns about these?
Move for approval.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the list of tax list corrections. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses?
Motion's carried. That completes the Board of Equalization. If we could have a motion to go out.
I'll make a motion to come out of the Board of Equalization.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second, come out of Board of Equalization. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses?
Motion's carried. All right, that concludes that portion. We'll go down to the next item on the agenda, public comments. The Board of Commissioners will receive public comments on items discussed at this meeting or suggestions for items of discussion at a future board meeting. The board will not take action on comments presented this date. Is there anyone, here this evening, from the public that would like to make any comments on any items? All right, let the record show there were none. We next go to the board and staff reports. I think maybe it's this side of the room. Anyone over here with staff that needs to report on anything? Heather, Kurt? Okay. Robert?
A lot of things going on. In the assessor's office, we sent out about 1,500 personal property returns in January, and this morning we mailed out about 1,800 homestead applications. So that process is officially started. So it can be fairly busy, for the next 4 months, filing homesteads. Other than that, last week I did meet with the Rotary group out at the Scotts Bluff Country Club. That was received very well, and they've asked me to come back at some point in the future. They said probably on an annual basis they'd like to have me come out and talk about a topic within the taxation process. So, but that was really good. Budgeting system, I mentioned that to the board. By mid-February, should be getting more information on getting training for the budget software. We already have the software, just need to do some training and then do some data entry so we can use it for this year's budget cycle. Also, we have a demo set up for the week, or the first week in March for a new time clock system. There's a MIPS product, so our accounts payable, payroll, and time clock would all talk to each other, and we'd eliminate a lot of manual processes. We just completed our property review for NERMA. So each January we have to reconcile with NERMA and all the property that we own, both real estate and equipment, vehicles, to make sure that we're properly insured. So we just finished that process on Friday. And those are the big things.
Sometimes it's hard for me to understand when you're reporting to us under the assessor side of things versus your new position, but I understand. I think I understand it now.
Yeah.
I have a question. Robert, do you send out any kind of, do we put something in the Star Herald or anything for people that aren't aware of the homestead exemption, that they have the window that they have to apply through
Yeah, actually, we haven't, but that's one of the things we're discussing. Cause I mentioned to the board, I think, end of last year, that I wanted to do more community engagement this year. And Rotary was one of those. We're putting more information out on our website for one. But we are talking internally about, is there a way that we could have a town hall, maybe in a couple of locations across the county? And basically talk to people who may be eligible for the program.
So what's
I
that,
think
what's
what
the,
you have right there will probably get the word out a little bit for us. That'll help, that'll help immensely,
Yeah.
cause there's a lot of people aren't aware of that. And then they come in, you know, at tax protest time, they go, can I still do that? It's too late now.
And I could put together a little blurb, couple, 4 or 5 sentences.
Follow up with any questions too.
Yeah.
I do have people who call regularly about questions about it every year and refer them over to you, and then of course it's been in front of the legislature the last 2 years, I think, with some changes, so that's probably gotten a little bit more attention.
Thanks for doing that, Mona.
what's the deadline for the homestead application?
So it's actually a very long application timeline. It goes from February 2nd until June 30th. So they have 5 months.
But, some kind of public notice, would be nice for Star Herald to pick up on and
That'd
or
be
any
great.
other media.
Right.
And,
I can talk to the radio as well.
right.
See if they would pick
That'd
something
be good.
up, so.
There are so many people out there that don't do the internet. I mean, don't look at it
That's true.
for no other reason than they don't want to. They don't
And
wanna
they're not
do it.
familiar, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
Some don't
It's
have it.
intimidating to them.
And
Yeah.
if we're able to schedule a couple of town halls, we would be looking to the newspaper as well as the radio station.
Do you do any
Yeah,
work with the aging office?
We haven't, no, that's a
That,
good idea.
that would be a really good
That's
source.
a really good
because you've
idea.
got-
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And that's where most of those people are that don't use the internet. And they come in and they're looking for assistance one way or another. And they get legal assistance, they get all of that sort of thing, and that's you know, they could say, you know, you qualify for this, maybe you don't, maybe you do, I don't know.
And, you know, Capwin would probably be a good place to put a flyer or something up at Capwin. I know there's a lot of people
Yeah.
come and go in Capwin as well.
I think Kaplan does a pretty good job of letting people know
Do
about
they?
that. Yeah, or they used to.
Right. They do.
As long as they know, you
Yeah.
know, it's that season again.
Yeah, well, I'll work
Alright.
with some bullet points, you know, as far as who may qualify, you know,
Aging office
age,
puts out-
disability, that type of thing.
Aging office puts out a newsletter or a news pamphlet every month that they print up, and that could be included, and I think people read it. My wife reads it all from cover to cover, and,
Who would I
but
coordinate over there?
What's that?
Who would I coordinate with?
Cheryl Bruns.
Okay.
Any other questions for Robert? All right, if not, Jared, you have anything for us?
Jason just wanted me to share with you on the predatory animal issue that I think you've talked about before. The county responsibility is up to $1,000 per request, and that the county would provide 50% of the total cost from the general fund. So it's my understanding that there hasn't been many, if any, requests. And Jason spoke to a gentleman from USDA, and there's no federal money there. And so it probably doesn't make a lot of sense looking at that interlocal to fund something when you haven't taken many hits recently.
Jerry, you said 1,000 and then 50%?
Yeah, so
50% of
1,000
1,000.
max.
1,000 max.
50% of that 1,000 is 500.
Well, let me
Is that what
restart.
you're talking about?
If a landowner comes and has it and the county has to pay, the maximum the county will pay is $1,000, and they only have to pay 50% of
So
whatever
it's a
it
cost
is.
share type
So it's,
thing.
if it's 1,500, county would pay 750.
Right.
Right. If it was 3,000, the max at 1,000.
Yeah,
So,
Right.
so,
It made it sound like it was up to 1,000 and then half of whatever the bill is too. Okay,
yeah.
as long as we're clear on that.
so yeah, the max we pay, so if it's a $2,000 bill, we pay 1,000, right?
Right.
So, yeah, so no, there's really no need to get on board with that, and I think I'd be happy to help somebody if they had a problem with that, I don't think that's gonna be a problem.
So all of that's in effect now,
Right.
and we don't need to really take any
The only thing we
action.
need to
No.
continue is keep a little budget, Terry. I think we got some money in the budget on that.
Well, we need to understand that we could be liable for some expense.
More than one item. You know, is that per occurrence? I guess that'd be per landowner,
Per
right?
request,
Per
per
request, per
landowner or
landowner.
entity per year, so
So
should
per
be a
landowner, have
consideration.
one request a year? Is that what you're
I
saying?
believe so.
Yeah, it should be a consideration when we start our budget process in April.
Yeah,
think
where,
there's-
where would that money come from if, cause I don't think we have it
Probably the
allocated
general
now.
fund.
I think there's about 12,000 in that thing.
So we
I
need to,
think-
we need to look at that.
Yeah.
We certainly were allocating, I believe, $8,000 per year when we were funding through the USDA. But where that falls in which fund, I don't know exactly, but like you said, there should be some money in there that we've never, haven't used for several years now.
I think it was under contractual services.
Is that what
You
it
know,
was?
the next time Steve Baird's here, or Kurt, you may know, they put a shipping container out there and had all their poisons and all their stuff out there on our property. Do you know if that's ever been removed or if it's still there? Huh? Still sitting there. So, we ought to have somebody that has a key to that to go in and make sure none of this stuff is, who knows what can happen to poison over time, but just so we don't get anything seep out of that building, have somebody check that. Who could we get to, somebody from USDA should come look at their property and at least check it. Be sure we don't have any residue sneaking out of that building.
Well, we can let Steve
Steve can
check
hunt
into
that
that
down.
and pursue that, but certainly, there should be some kind of source with the USDA to talk to.
I don't know if we have the liability on that stuff where it's on our property or if they've, you know, I think they just.
When we signed that contract years ago, I think it was something in that contract that relieved us of any liability,
As long as
if
we
I
have that,
remember right.
that's good, but it's
But I
still,
don't,
doesn't make it right if a kid gets over there and drops
Right.
something down and
Should
picks
still
it
be
up,
checked.
eats a candy bar that's been
Probably
laying
been
in there.
ignored for,
Ew.
okay?
Who knows what?
and they usually ship a lot of candy bars in those things.
Anything else, Jerry, that you have? Okay. So I think we're around. Troy, do you have anything? Okay. Oh, sorry. Miss Linda, come on up.
All right. Did you bring your toys?
I did.
Cool.
I brought some things to show you.
Those are nice.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just start at the top here. First of all, me and a couple of my board members attended the National Western Stock Show this year, and we worked for Nebraska Tourism. While we're there, we represent the entire state, and I'm sure you've probably heard the Denver news. This year was record attendance clear across the board on a lot of different days. Nobody likes to work on Martin Luther King Day, so I took it upon myself to not only work Martin Luther King Day, but I worked both shifts. So I was there from 9 in the morning until 8 o'clock at night, and we were busy. I probably needed a couple more people there with me, but the morning especially, and then in the afternoon there are 2 rodeos. So when people go to the rodeos, it dies down a little bit. And at 256 travel guides, I lost track. And that was, you know, first 4 hours. So we did really well. And, you know, we hope that that's something that Nebraska Tourism can continue to do. There's a little bit of friction this year, and so we've got some things to work through, but hopefully that's something they will continue. And then this last week, I was in Colorado Springs visiting the USA governing bodies. And of course, I did get to go see and spend some time with my cycling buddies, and we're looking at some youth gravel events that we could bring in 2027. And then we are also hosting regular sports council meetings. So we are the West Nebraska Sports Council. We do have regular meetings. It's not really a set time, especially with parents in sports. Sometimes it just depends when we can all get together. Otherwise, I would definitely invite you, but I did complete the bylaws, and we will be bringing those to you, I would imagine, in March, by the time the board approves them, so that you can look at our scope of work through our bylaws. And then next week is the Nebraska Tourism Convention in Lincoln, and that also includes our Advocacy Day. And so we will have breakfast with all of the senators, and like I said, we have quite a bit of work to do. I know that there is some discussion about shifting all of the tourism money over to the Department of Economic Development, and we certainly do not want to see that happen. It would be a disaster for our industry, and so we are going to take all of our Scotts Bluff County facts, stand in the rotunda as long as we have to till we get the word out about our mission here in Scotts Bluff County. And then we will start phase 2 of our strategic plan. That's on the 24th of February. And so you might get some invitations just because the board met the first time, we'll meet the second time, and then the last hour we're going to save for input from, I know like Jordan from TCD, and there'll be some other people there that help support our industry for input, and so we will save that, and I will send out an invitation to you as well. And then what Russ was referring to was I attended the NACO conference, and I always do a booth for Scotts Bluff County, and he really liked these, and so I wanted to show you. I had 4 or 5 of them made. I had the Scotts Bluff National Monument, a covered wagon. This one guy thought it was a giraffe. I don't know. People from
giraffe?
the east are strange. I don't know. Yeah, I'm like, well, it's a longhorn steer in western Nebraska, but
Yeah.
okay. And then we had some cyclists, and of course, Old West Balloon Fest, some balloons. And so now this one is battery powered, and that's why I haven't hooked it up the way that he wants me to. But he asked me to put him in the tourism window because he really liked them. So I ordered, John and I sat down, ordered the things, and him and I will get this up and going. So they will be in the, yeah, so there's just a little remote, and then what you do is you can pick whatever color that you want. Yeah, so it's a very colorful giraffe, yeah. And so then you can pick colors, and of course we kind of had a green theme, so I had some green, and you know, it was red, Christmas type of thing. But they were kind of neat. And so we're gonna get those in the window at Russ's request. And then last but not least, I brought
So
you.
you're talking about the window over here?
Yes.
Her office window,
Yeah.
I see, yeah.
Yeah, and then I also brought you a copy of the brand new Destination Western Nebraska. We order and distribute 50,000 copies of this annually.
Thank you.
And this is our main project and all of the funds that we do from the Nebraska, the Western Nebraska Tourism Coalition. This is what our money goes to do, is to be sure that representation for Western Nebraska is strong. And this is the #1 travel guide that is taken off of the shelves in Nebraska.
I will say that looking through that, each individual town, they have features for, you know, what type of activities they have. I was really impressed with it, looking through it.
And it has a picture of the giraffes right on the front.
there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't hardly miss them. Amazing,
Very good.
amazing, amazing.
Any other questions? Ms. Lacy? All right, if not, Troy, you said none. Ms. Kelly,
Nothing.
nothing? Okay, we'll go to commissioners then. Matt?
The only thing I would add, last Monday, I had a briefing and a tour of the University of Nebraska Panhandle Extension, and really, really impressed with everything that they do. And a lot of things I didn't understand in terms of the county's responsibility and the state responsibilities for funding that and running that. But I would encourage all the commissioners at some point to take that tour. It was very informative. Thanks, Jackie. That's all that I have.
Okay. Ken?
my Thursday meetings will be next week. I've got one tomorrow night at Kaplan. She called, reminded me, whatever, I thought it was the
She
second
called me
Tuesday.
first.
Yeah, no. So I'll be there. Been working with Region One. They were, a lot of roadblocks on trying to get that crisis intervention center open down in Kimball. I got, I got an email from her, but I can't find it. I was gonna just read what she had to say, but basically, they got the go-ahead, they've got the provider hired, they've gone over all the little hurdles set in front of them by the state and whoever else wanted all this stuff. So they'll start remodeling in that building now. They're asking for a lot of things that really aren't necessary, and I've made a couple calls to both the fire marshal's office and the people that are doing it. Hopefully we'll get it done. They're just throwing stuff at them.
Is that for Kaplan you're talking?
No, this is for Region One.
Region One.
Yeah, and they just throw one roadblock after another, and so they finally did everything they wanted, kissed everybody's hands that need to be kissed, and so they're ready to move forward with it, so. Anyway, but I'll be at Kaplan, and then next meeting, I'll have my other 4 meetings, however many there are.
Okay. I'll mention a couple things. Wanna remind everybody, our next meeting is the 17th, which is a Tuesday, I believe. Is that right, Kelly?
That is correct.
All right, because the 16th is a holiday. Also, Russ, I wanted to mention again that chairman, vice chair, NACO workshop, if you're interested. It's on the February 13th.
February 13th, and that's in
Right.
where?
Kearney.
Were you going to that?
No,
No.
I'm gonna be in Colorado that weekend, and I definitely cannot go, so. Okay, the other thing I had, to remind you of is, our NACO Panhandle District meeting in Bridgeport is March 25th. That's a Wednesday. So keep that one in mind. It's like 9 to 1. The other thing I wanted to mention is that February 17th, I believe, Ms. Kelly, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the last day for incumbents to file.
That is
for-
correct.
For office, so if anyone
That,
is
and
going
that
to
is
file,
this year. Statutorily, it's February 15th, but
because of
where
the
it-
weekend and
correct.
holiday, it moved to the 17th,
and then non-incumbents is March 2nd.
okay?
And both days I have to stay open till 5 for that, for people to be able to file.
Sure, okay. So, let me also mention, while we're talking about that, I have not filed to run, and I've told most of you that are here that, I still, at this point in time, plan not to run. I have not decided that 100% yet. It's about 90% sure of that. And, so I just want you to be aware of it. We won't have another meeting again until the 17th, and that, by that time, the deadline will have passed. I'm assuming it's at 5 o'clock or something.
Correct.
And, so anyway, just wanted you to, be aware of that. But as of this point in time, I do not plan to run. There's been 2 or 3 people that have told me that they were planning on possibly running, if I didn't, and so, I'm not mentioning names at this point, but, just wanna mention that to all of you. I think, those are the dates, I think, that I wanted to mention. I did attend this past week the Panhandle Public Health District meeting that was, held at Bridgeport on Thursday. And, the one thing that's happening there is, it appears that they're going to get, a substantial amount of money. They're talking $8 million or so from the state, but it's passed down through the federal government to the state, and then, our Panhandle Public Health District is, assuming that they're going to get about $8 million. I can't even tell you what, it's a wide variety of things that, the money would go for. They're looking at gearing up to hire 6 or 8 new people, for this, and, so just be aware of it. There'll be some new information. In fact, you should be receiving, I have not got mine yet, but you should be receiving in the mail the, something similar to this, a colored, Panhandle Public Health District. I think it's what I call their annual report, and, you should be receiving that any time in the mail now. They said they mailed them for the Scotts Bluff Gearing area late last week. So some of you may already have them, but if not, you should be getting them soon. And some of that information, I believe, is in there. Again, I believe that, their budget is all basically supported by, federal and state funds. We don't, give anything, out of the county's, money to them. But it's federal and state funds plus a few local, I'll call it sometimes businesses, but it's primarily funded by federal and state funding. So be aware of that. Jessica Davis, of course, is the new, executive director there. She seems to be doing a good job, and they have a number of people there. Jessica's office is in Hemingford. Their primary offices are in Hemingford and, in Scotts Bluff, and it's a 12-county organization, for the Panhandle. So just be aware of that. They're doing lots of stuff. I believe that with those 8 additional people, it'll bring their total number of employees up to like 40, if I'm not mistaken. And, so they're doing a lot of things. My major, point of dealing with them was when COVID came around. And, that was important, that we try and do things appropriately, and they were good source of information. And there's a lot of the people that work here in the Scotts Bluff office, many that work in Hemingford, but then they're spread out throughout the Panhandle as well. So just be aware of that. That information that's coming in that annual report, and I have one of those at the office, but, that information that's coming is helpful to, if you read through it and go over it, so I encourage you to do that. I think that was the only meeting that I had, last week, so.
Mark, I've got one thing to add, I forgot about
Okay.
it. I had been working with some of the patrons from Lake Minnetonka School
Okay,
as an individual, not a commissioner, only because of my previous wife, and, pretty emotional, very, very emotional, and you need to kind of pay attention to those kind of things, that I don't know what their budget is. They're claiming to save $750,000. The good side is that their test scores are better than any place else. A lot of reasons to keep that building open, keep it. I talked to, I don't know how many different patrons that live out there, and I wanted to get to had a soup supper Saturday night. I wanted to get out there, but I had other plans. But if you hear of somebody that I talked to, I was talking to them as an individual, not as a commissioner. I wasn't
Sure.
representing this board. I wouldn't do that, cause we have really nothing to say about their budget and their activities. Very, very emotional, very, very emotional operation.
I know it is for many people. I have, shirt tail relation that, you know, some of this affects, and, but I did also talk to, one person at church yesterday, and, they said that, one was a teacher's spouse, but anyway, they said that, several of the people there or the teachers are, being, offered, tentatively positions at other places within the school district. And, so they are working towards, making some of that happen, but I know that there's many people, and not only the school people, but residents, in that area that are particularly concerned about it. And so, and, you know, one of the, places I know, Region One and Panhandle Public Health, there's, quite a few, resources to reach out to those people if need be, and so we can direct them in those ways.
The good part of it, if there's a light at the tunnel, is that they don't all have to come to Scotts Bluff.
Yeah, they have a choice.
They're looking at Baird, they're looking at Minutair, they're looking at other districts to put their kids in, and that's, you know, that's certainly their choice. I'm not gonna condemn one district over another one, but,
Sure.
it's tough. You know, I was involved in the closing Lake Ellis, I was involved in the Mitchell, was it?
Hey,
Oh, no, that was Gary.
Mitchell Valley?
Gary, Mitchell Valley, yeah. Those are tough. I mean,
Yeah, they are.
you get a community there,
I was
you
on
get
school
people
board
that
when
are,
they closed Lyman that
yeah,
time.
yeah, it's a community of people, and if things were bad, I remember when we closed Lake Alice, I mean, this population was really low, there wasn't many kids going there, and it was costing a ton of money, and we tried to keep it going for a while the best we could. Our financial guy was helping them doing their budgets and trying to keep stuff going. It gets to a point where it just doesn't pay anymore. I'm not sure, I'll keep my own opinion to myself, but, anyway, it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing, and it does affect our budgets, the school budget. It does affect how much money is coming out of that pie, obviously, that 70 cents or however much is going to the schools. So you need to kind of keep watching, see what's going on with it, but anyway.
It affects a lot of lives and a lot of history.
It
a lot of
really
history.
does, it really does, and it wasn't my first rodeo with that stuff, and it was tough, it was very, very tough.
Mike?
Well, Friday the 24th, I had a meeting in the comm center with Celinda and some folks from Banner County to address some 911 addressing, and what's going to happen is Banner County is going to take over doing their own 911 addressing, but they will provide that information to our GIS as well as our comm center. And then there's a little discussion on some fire district boundaries, response districts boundaries that were clarified. Then I met with Celinda and two representatives of the Nebraska Public Service Commission over some comm issues and issues with boundaries and up to date. And we did discuss the company that provided the alerts to the comm center for our alarm systems in Scotts Bluff County. They're no longer going to support that system, so they're looking at trying to find a different system or trying to figure out how they're going to do that. Then I attended the elected officials meeting. It was very interesting. And then I've been following the legislature pretty close, and there's a bill, LB 663, that affects all counties. And it was aimed at reforming livestock site permitting. And it's advanced to the select file portion, which is the fourth step in approving a bill. And it seeks to create a more consistent and transparent and timely county permitting process to conditional use and special exception permits. NACO is neutral on this bill, but there's some of your smaller feedlot owners are against this bill. A lot of other organizations are against it, and their opposition is based on it limits local control, and it restricts county boards from requiring additional permit processing. It weakens local governments by limiting county boards' ability to set conditions of permitting standards that reflect local needs. What it would do is you'd have the county planning board and the commissioners would have basically 30 days to determine whether the conditional use permit was proper and meets all the standards, but then they'd only have 90 days to do all their research and investigations, and that would also limit the public. So a lot of your county boards and commission around the state, and like I said, some of your ag producers are against this particular bill. And the people that are really backing this bill are your industrial-sized feedlots, as well as your renewable wind and solar companies. They're wanting a faster way of getting conditional use permits approved. And so that limits counties, local residents of those counties to have a whole lot of input or time to investigate all the issues. So it's right now, it just went through the select file stage, which is your fourth stage in the bill. Next, it'll go to final reading and passage if it gets that far, and then if it gets any further, to the governor's desk. So that's one bill that I think all county residents and people should be aware of, is LB 663, that to read it and look into it and decide for yourself what you think. Personally, I'm against it as it's written. I think zoning boards and boards of commission, as well as our public, needs more time to do their due diligence and investigating before they have to make a decision. So that's about it. Oh yeah, one other thing. I was approached by a carpenter in the valley. He's he's understood there's a lot of issues when people comes to burial. And a lot of people, we have a county fund to assist in burials. There's also the veterans have a fund to assist in burials. And he has come up with the idea that he's willing, as a ministry, to build caskets at no charge for families. And so he just wants that out there to kind of see what we think as individuals, if we support something like that in our community. I definitely do, because I've dealt with a lot of families that have had financial situations when it comes to final plannings for their loved ones, and if they knew that this service was available to them, as well as the funeral homes, even though it cuts into their profits, I guess. But I think it's a real valuable ministry if people want that, and so I thought that was kind of an unusual request from this individual, but I can see where it would be very, very useful. He has built caskets for other individuals, and I've been to a few funerals where caskets have been made, and very inexpensive. So I told him that maybe he should get a hold of Capwin, let them know what he's doing, and it's available. And I said to have him talk to the veteran service officer, and so maybe we can help out some of our citizens in the valley by letting them know that service is available.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Russ?
Well, I have a question. Monette, did that health money that Mark was talking about, does any of that come to Capwin at all? Do you have any access to that?
I don't know 100%, but I do know that Capwin and PPHD work closely together on some of their programs, so I do know that some of the funding that PPHD does go over to Capwin, such as vaccinations and some other programs. So
It seemed like you were having some funding cuts, earlier this year, and so I just wondered if that was gonna help fill in some of those voids that you were gonna be short on.
probably not, I would guess, because some of those funding cuts were in areas like that are not that wouldn't go through PPHD, but I know that an area that they're expecting big growth is like behavioral health funding, and I know that that will pass. I believe some of that funding will pass through PPHD. We provide a lot of dental services at schools throughout the Panhandle. Those funds go through PPHD. So I know that
Those might
Betsy,
qualify.
Betsy and Jessica, and that group, they all do a good job working together.
Okay, great, thanks. I met with Steve and the Road and Bridge crew on last Monday. And Steve is at a meeting, Steve is at a meeting with the, what do you call it, our, oh my, I'm confused here. What
safety?
Well, no, it's with the, rodent control or our weed control and pest control stuff he's doing. He's looking into several things there. They've got meetings in Norfolk this week, so he's gonna be gone most all the week here. And so that was pretty much what we discussed there, so. Not a lot online. I got meetings tomorrow and Thursday.
Okay. Appreciate it. The other thing that I didn't specifically mention, but was legislation, but Mike brought some up. I'm assuming again that if you, whenever we do these, if you have something on legislation, you should mention it. And, again, fortunately, we have NACO looking out for our interest on most of these, so. Is there any other items this evening for this meeting? All right, hearing none, meeting's adjourned.
I could tell you,
Yesterday?
663. It's
Yesterday?
require 2 hours of training each term for each member of county board.
Close.
Zoning,
Close.
which is not a big deal, it's just
You were mentioning.
We can get about a 9:30 when